When we think about the future of AI, we usually picture this super intelligence that knows, well, everything. But what's fascinating is that the most effective AI today isn't getting broader. It's actually getting way, way narrower. We're talking about an AI that's an absolute genius on one thing and one thing only: the McDonald's menu. It sounds a little backward, doesn't it? Why would you go to all the trouble of building an AI just to intentionally limit what it knows? I mean, how could a system that can't even tell you the capital of France possibly be better at taking your Big Mac order? That's the big question we're going to unpack here. So let's dive into this idea, because the real power of this AI comes from what it doesn't know. It turns out, by limiting its scope, developers can build a tool that is incredibly precise and super reliable for one very specific job. Okay, this table really lays it all out. On one side, you've got your general-purpose AI. It tries to be a jack-of-all-trades, which is great for a random chat. But in a drive-thru, its ability to improvise is actually a huge liability. It might go off script, or worse, make up a menu item that doesn't exist. But the narrow specialist AI, that's a precision tool. It knows the menu inside and out, and it will never, ever stray from its task. So, how does this thing actually work under the hood? What's the secret ingredient that makes it so good at its one job? Well, it all comes down to where it gets its information. See, this AI isn't learning from the chaotic Wild West of the internet. Nope, it relies on what's called a dedicated knowledge base. You can think of it like a perfect digital employee handbook. It has every single menu item, every customization rule, every special offer, and absolutely nothing else. That is its entire universe. And that leads to a really crucial rule: a search-first approach. Before the AI says a single word, it first has to search its knowledge base for a verified fact. It never guesses. It never improvises. If the answer isn't in its little handbook, it simply can't say it. And that simple rule is what makes it so incredibly trustworthy. This creates a super simple but really powerful decision-making loop. First, it listens to what you want. Second, it searches its database for a match. If it finds one, great, it confirms your order. But if it doesn't find a match, it doesn't get confused or try to be clever. It just follows its programming and politely nudges you back to what's actually on the menu. All right, let's put this into practice. A customer pulls up and makes a classic request: a Big Mac with one simple change. This should be bread and butter for our AI. And boom, just like that, the AI instantly finds Big Mac and the no pickles customization rule in its knowledge base. It confirms the order, and then it even executes another programmed rule: the upsell. It's working straight from its playbook, which makes the whole thing fast, accurate, and for the business, profitable. Okay, but now for the real test. The customer throws it a total curveball. They ask for something completely out of left field. Now, this is exactly where a general-purpose AI might get into trouble, right? It might try to crack a joke or give you some weird, unhelpful answer. But our specialist AI? It handles it perfectly. It searches its knowledge base, finds 0 entries for sushi, and triggers its no-match protocol. It politely tells you sushi isn't on the menu, and then, this is the brilliant part, it redirects to the most relevant item it does have: the filet-o-fish. It stays helpful, it stays on brand, and it stays completely in control. So, we've seen how it works, but now let's break down exactly why this narrow approach is just so powerful. There are some huge benefits here. There are 4 really key advantages. First, it's way faster. It's searching a tiny, curated list of facts, not the entire internet. Second, it's incredibly accurate, because every single answer is grounded in verified company data. Third, it's always on brand. It physically cannot go off topic. And finally, for the business, it's a dream to maintain. Want to add a new McFlurry flavor? You just update one little database entry and the AI is instantly an expert on it. And here's the thing, this isn't just about fast food. This whole concept of creating hyper-focused expert AIs is a massive trend that's happening across pretty much every industry you can think of. Think about your bank's chatbot. You don't want it to have an opinion on the stock market. You just need it to know your exact account balance and transaction history with perfect accuracy. Its power comes from that narrow focus. Or what about an airlines AI? Its entire world should be flights, baggage policies, and schedules. Knowing about the history of aviation is useless. Having deep, precise knowledge of travel logistics is everything. And in a super high-stakes place like a hospital, this becomes even more critical. An AI assistant there needs to be a master of patient forms, insurance rules, and hospital procedures. There is absolutely zero room for error or improvisation. All of this is really leading us to a new way of thinking about what makes an AI smart. Maybe it's not about knowing everything under the sun. Maybe it's about knowing exactly what's required for a task and nothing more. In a world that's obsessed with building these massive, all-knowing models, maybe the real genius is actually in restraint. Sometimes the smartest thing an AI can possibly do is just stay in its lane and do that one job extremely well, better than any generalist ever could. So, I'll leave you with a final question to think about. As these giant, general-purpose AIs keep getting bigger and better, where do you think the next big breakthrough from a highly specialized AI will pop up? What jobs are just waiting for a precision tool like this to come along?